I walked in through the back door and heard my aunt laugh. She just throws money at us to feel needed. My mom replied, let her. As long as she keeps paying. I quietly packed my things, emptied the joint account and left. By morning they went crazy. I heard it before I even saw them. I just come in through the back door same way I always did. Quiet. Out of habit. My arms were full of groceries I just bought with the same credit card they use like it printed money. She just throws money at us to feel needed. It was my aunt. Laughing. Like it was a joke. Then my mom. Let her. As long as she keeps paying. I didn't move. I just stood there in the hallway, not breathing, frozen like the eggs I was holding weren't slowly slipping out of the carton. In that exact moment something inside me shifted. I didn't even feel hurt. I felt stupid. Not for what I heard, for what I hadn't seen all along. For 3 years I'd paid everything. The house we lived in. In my name. Every single bill. Water, power, Wi-Fi, groceries, car insurance, health insurance. All of it came from my account. When my mom's car broke down, I co-signed for a new one. When my aunt got laid off, I covered her rent. When they wanted to take a vacation to the Keys last summer, guess who booked the flights? They told everyone I was successful, hardworking, so generous. I was the pride of the family on Facebook. In real life, I was their walking wallet. And the worst part? I did it all thinking it would make them love me. Or maybe that it proved they already did. That night, I didn't say anything. I didn't ask them what they meant. I didn't give them a chance to lie to my face. I walked straight upstairs, shut the door and opened my laptop. The joint account was the first thing I emptied. I moved every penny into my personal savings. Then I shut it down completely. The credit card got frozen next. I booked a one-way flight for the next morning. I had miles saved up for a trip to Italy I kept postponing because it's not the right time. Suddenly it felt like the perfect time. Then I packed. Just one suitcase. I didn't want them to hear the drawers opening, so I didn't take much. My laptop, passport, chargers, some clothes. That was it. They were still in the kitchen when I walked back down. Laughing. Still talking. Still living on money they thought would never stop coming. I left the groceries on the counter, walked past them without a word and got in my car. It took them until noon the next day to realize what happened. My phone lit up with missed calls. First my mom. Then my aunt. Then both over and over. Texts started coming in. Did you cancel the card? Where is the money? Are you coming back? What's going on? I didn't answer. Not even when my mom sent. This is about what we said, you're being ridiculous. The next one was longer. Angrier. Told me I was selfish. That I abandoned my family. That I humiliated them by cutting them off without warning. That I let money change me. But the truth was money didn't change me. Changed them. And I was finally done paying to keep people who never once chose me. I landed in Portland around 10 a.m. the next morning. It was raining, not in that dramatic movie kind of way, just a steady gray drizzle. But it felt cleaner than anything I'd breathed in years. My condo had been sitting empty for over a year. I kept making excuses not to move in. Said it was too far from work, too lonely, too quiet. Really, I think I just didn't know how to be on my own without trying to save someone. I unlocked the door and stepped into silence. That's when I realized how loud my life had been. The constant demands, passive-aggressive comments, guilt trips disguised as jokes. Every time I said no, they acted like I was breaking some sacred code. Within the first 2 hours of being gone, I had 37 missed calls. By the end of the day, it was over 100. They tried everyone. My work number, my friends, even DM'd old college roommates asking where I was. I kept my phone on silent and just watched. By day 3, things started unraveling. I got a text from my cousin Emma. We weren't that close, but she always seemed decent. She said, "Hey, just so you know, your mom's been telling people you had a breakdown and went off the grid. She's freaking out about the mortgage." The mortgage I'd been paying. I waited for some kind of apology. A message saying they didn't mean what they said. That it was taken out of context or said in frustration or anything remotely human. But nothing came. Just more panic. They weren't worried about me. They were worried about the bills. That's when I knew I'd been nothing but a safety net. My mom finally sent a long, dramatic message on day 4. It was a wall of text filled with lines like, "How could you do this to us? And we depended on you, and you left us with nothing." She wrote, "You didn't even say goodbye. You act like we're the villains. But we're family. Family fights, family says things. That doesn't mean you throw us away. She didn't say sorry. Not once. I read it 3 times just to be sure. I was looking for something. Any sign she realized she crossed a line. That she knew what she said and why it mattered. But it wasn't there. She didn't care that I'd left. She only cared that the money had. So I blocked her number. Then my aunt's. Then the cousin who'd suddenly started checking in with suspicious questions like, "So, you think you'll start helping again soon?" I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I opened my laptop and started applying for new jobs. Out of state. Out of reach. The universe hadn't whispered. It had shouted. I was done buying love. And I was ready to see who I was without them. A week passed. Then I didn't break. They went from rage to guilt to silence. But not once did they apologize. I'd been in Portland for 17 days when I got the email. It was from the mortgage company. A payment overdue notice. Attached to my name. Because yes, I had bought the house like an idiot, under some fake noble idea of keeping generational wealth in the family. The deal was they'd take over the payments after the first year. They never did. I just kept paying it out of guilt and habit. Now the payment was late. And I wasn't surprised. They thought I was bluffing. I replied to the mortgage company, sent over the updated deed transfer papers I'd had drafted a few months back. Something I'd quietly prepared just in case I ever grew a spine. The house was now in my mom's name alone. Legally. Fully. I was out. That same day my mom emailed me. She must have seen the documents. Her message said, "You really did this. After all we've done for you." I didn't reply. 2 days later she emailed again. Different tone. "You know I can't afford that house without your help. They're saying I need to refinance or they'll start the foreclosure process." Still no apology. Still no acknowledgement of what I heard in that kitchen. I blocked her email. My aunt tried next. Through Facebook. She messaged me something like, "You're hurting your own family. How does that make you better than us?" Better? I never said I was better. I just finally stopped letting them use me. After I ignored her too, the posts started going up, vague, guilt-baiting garbage about ungrateful daughters and family betrayers. A few relatives liked them. Most didn't react. A couple messaged me privately saying, "I don't know what happened but good for you." Apparently, I wasn't the only one they'd leaned on. Just the most profitable. By week 4 I got confirmation. The power company shut off the electricity at the house. The account was in my name or had been, so I had to formally close it. I did. No hesitation. 2 days later they were in the dark. That's when things really turned. I started getting messages from unknown numbers. One of them said, "You're ruining lives." For what? Some ego trip. Another said, "Your mom's been selling furniture just to keep the lights on. Hope that makes you feel big." They still didn't get it. They really believed I'd left to hurt them. The truth was worse. I'd left because I realized they didn't care whether I stayed as long as the money didn't leave with me. I wasn't destroying their lives. I was just no longer funding their fantasy. And for the first time in years, my life was actually starting. By the time month 2 rolled around, I'd started hearing about them through other people. Not directly, they couldn't reach me anymore. But word travels when you live your whole life loudly. My cousin Emma, the only one who hadn't tried to guilt me, sent me a screenshot of a Facebook marketplace listing. My mom was selling the dining room set. The one I bought for her birthday last year. Mahogany. Custom. He told everyone it was a gift from a friend. I paid $2,400 for it. She was asking $300. Desperate pricing. Emma said they were behind on everything. Not just the mortgage but credit cards, car payments, even their cell phone bills. The house was going dark piece by piece. Then the part that actually made me pause. My aunt had gotten a job. Cleaning houses. The same woman who once said she'd never work for someone else again because God didn't make her to answer to idiots. The same one who used to joke that I'd always be their retirement plan. She was cleaning condos in a city 2 towns over. Emma found out through a friend whose apartment she'd actually cleaned. Said she looked exhausted, thinner, angry. Good. That sounds cold. Maybe it is. But I'd spent years making sure they never felt what struggle was. I used to think that was love. Now I know it was just fear. Fear they'd stop talking to me or turn the rest of the family against me or worse, tell me I owed them for being born. That fear was gone. The real twist came when I found out they were trying to rent out my condo. The one I was living in now. Apparently, my mom had told some distant family friend that I left the country, and said they could stay at my place if they needed a place to land. She had no key, no lease, no right, but still tried to hand it off like it was hers to give. I found out because a total stranger showed up at my door with a suitcase. Said, "I think your mom told us we could crash here for a few weeks?" I asked who she was. She said her name was Vanessa, and she was a friend of my cousin's boyfriend or something. I told her politely that this was my condo and no one was moving in. She was embarrassed. Apologized. But 5 minutes later, my mom emailed me from a new burner address. "You humiliated me. That was cruel." That word again. Oh, not once did she call what she did cruel. The manipulation. The lies. The way she and my aunt had laughed like I was some pathetic little piggy bank with a heartbeat. But when the check stopped coming, I was the monster. That was the month the foreclosure process officially started. I knew because they used my name so often on forms. I still got some notifications forwarded. I thought maybe, just maybe, this would finally be the thing that snapped her out of it. That she'd call and say, "I'm sorry. We used you. I was wrong." But no. The next message I got was a screenshot from Emma. It was a new post my mom had made. It said, "Some people forget who raised them. Some people throw away their family like garbage. But karma always comes around." The comments were full of those half-sincere relatives who don't want drama but love to watch it. Little praying hands emojis. A few stay strong comments. And one that said, "What happened?" with a popcorn gif. No one tagged me. No one said my name. But I was the ghost floating under every line. They wanted sympathy. They wanted money. They wanted someone to come in and fix it all again. But I wasn't coming back. By month 3 they weren't even pretending anymore. My aunt filed for unemployment. My mom started applying for part-time jobs at places she used to mock. A grocery store, a laundromat, even a call center. She got rejected from most of them. Too few skills, too much attitude. That's what Emma said anyway. The house was listed for auction on a foreclosure site. I didn't watch it out of curiosity. I watched it because I wanted to see how long it would take them to realize this wasn't a game. They kept waiting for me to cave. I could feel it even in the silence. Every time they posted one of those vague quotes about forgiveness and healing, it wasn't about growth. It was bait. I was supposed to see it and feel guilty. I didn't. The job I'd applied for in Seattle got back to me. I got it. Good salary, fresh start, new city. I packed up my condo and moved quietly. Didn't post anything. Didn't say a word. They didn't know where I lived anymore. No address to send letters to. No chance of showing up. That was intentional. Then about 2 weeks after I started the new job, Emma messaged me again. He never pushed, never judged. She just wrote, "Thought you should know. Your mom's been telling people you stole from her. That you emptied the accounts and left her bankrupt." That one actually made me laugh. The rewriting of history had started. I screenshotted it. Not to respond. Just to have it. I don't know why. Maybe so if I ever doubted myself later, I'd remember who they really were. Then came the email. From my mom. Another new burner. The subject line was, "Help. Please." The body of the email was short. Just 3 lines. "I'm scared. We're going to lose everything. Please just one more time." That was the first time she didn't accuse me of being heartless or selfish. No guilt trips. No insults. Just that. A short, desperate plea. I didn't reply. I didn't even finish reading it the first time. I just closed it, sat back, and looked at the ceiling of my new apartment. It was quiet. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel sorry. They weren't scared because they lost me. They were scared because they lost the lifestyle I built for them. That's not family. That's addiction. And I wasn't going to be their drug anymore. The house was auctioned off on a Thursday morning. I watched it go live on the foreclosure site. Starting bid was less than half what I paid for it. The pictures showed the living room still fully furnished. They hadn't even moved the couch. The one I bought still had the throw pillows I picked out. It sold in 4 days. Emma told me my mom and aunt were staying in a motel off the freeway. The kind with week-to-week rates and plastic chairs bolted to the floor. She didn't tell me because she thought I'd want to help. She told me because she knew I wouldn't. Not anymore. My mom got a job eventually. Not a good one. Front counter at a dry cleaner. Emma said she lasted 3 weeks before she got into an argument with the manager and walked out. My aunt picked up extra shifts cleaning medical offices at night. No benefits. No vacation. No stability. It was over. They didn't know where I lived. They didn't know where I worked. They didn't even know my new number. That part mattered to me, not because I was afraid they'd show up, but because I needed to know I could finally disappear from their reach without disappearing from myself. And the silence? It was better than any apology they could have given. I rebuilt. Slowly. I kept my head down, worked hard, saved money. For my future this time. Not theirs. I joined a photography group. Made real friends. People who didn't ask me for things, didn't make jokes at my expense, didn't treat generosity like a subscription service. Sometimes I'd sit on the balcony of my new apartment, coffee in hand, and just stare out at the skyline. Not thinking. Just feeling. There was no big dramatic ending. No tearful reunion. No epiphany from them. They never changed. They still tell people I betrayed them. That I went cold. That I turned my back on family. Maybe I did. But only after they turned theirs first. The truth is, you don't owe people your life just because they gave you theirs. You don't have to bleed for people who sharpen the knife every time. Walking away wasn't revenge. It was survival. And the only thing I regret is not doing it sooner.